This Phoebe Ann was a very proud girl. Her nose had always an upward curl. She thought herself better than all others beside, and beat even the peacock himself in pride. She thought the earth was so dirty and brown that never by chance would she look down. And she held up her head in the air so high that her neck began stretching by and by. It stretched, and it grew so long that her parents thought something must be wrong. It stretched, and they soon began to look up with fear at their Phoebe Ann. They prayed her to stop her upward gaze, but Phoebe kept on in her old proud ways, until her neck had grown so long and spare that her head was more than her neck could bear, and it bent to the ground like a willow tree, and brought down the head of this proud Phoebe, until whenever she went out a walk to take, the boys would shout, "Here comes the snake!" Her head got to be so heavy to drag on that she had to put it on a little wagon. So don't, my friends, hold your head too high, or your neck may stretch too by and by. Mama and Nurse went out one day and left Pauline alone at play. Around the room she gaily sprang, clapped her hands and danced and sang. Now on the table close at hand a box of matches chanced to stand. And kind Mama and Nurse had told her that if she touched them they would scold her. But Pauline said, "Oh, what a pity! For when they burn, it is so pretty. They crackle so and spit and flame, and Mama often burns the same. I'll only light a match or two, as I have often seen my mother do." When Mince and Monce the cats heard this, they said, "Oh, naughty, naughty miss, meow," they cried, "meow, meow. You'll burn to death if you do so. Mama forbids it, don't you know?" But Pauline would not take advice. She lit a match, it was so nice. It crackled so, it burned so clear, exactly like the picture here. She jumped for joy and ran about, and was too pleased to put it out. When Mince and Monce the cats saw this, they said, "Oh, naughty, naughty miss," and raised their paws and stretched their claws. "'Tis very, very wrong, you know. Meow, 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 meow. You will be burnt if you do so. Mama forbids it, don't you know?" Now see, oh see, a dreadful thing. The fire has caught her apron string. Her apron burns, her arms, her hair. She burns all over, everywhere. Then how the pussy cats did mew. What else, poor pussies, could they do? They screamed for help, 'twas all in vain. So then they said, "We'll scream again. Make haste, meow, meow. She'll burn to death, we told her so." Pauline was burnt with all her clothes, and arms and hands, and eyes and nose, till she had nothing more to lose, except her little scarlet shoes. And nothing else but these were found among her ashes on the ground. And when the good cats sat beside the little smoking ashes, how they cried, "Meow, meow, meow, mew. What will Mama and Nursey do?" Their tears ran down their cheeks so fast, they made a little pond at last. "Oh, why are you always so bitterly crying? You surely will make yourself blind. What reason on earth for such sobbing and sighing, I pray, can you possibly find? There is no real sorrow, there's nothing distressing, to make you thus grieve and lament. Ah, no, you are just at this moment possessing whatever should make you content. Now do, my dear daughter, give over this weeping." Such was a kind mother's advice, but all was in vain, for you see she's still keeping her handkerchief up to her eyes. But now she removes it, and oh, she discloses a countenance full of dismay, for she certainly feels, or at least she supposes, her eyesight is going away. She is not mistaken, her sight is departing, she knows it and sorrows the more. Then she rubs her sore eyes to relieve them from smarting, and makes them still worse than before. And now the poor creature is cautiously crawling and feeling her way all around. And now from their sockets her eyeballs are falling. See, there they are down on the ground. My children, from such an example take warning, and happily live while you may. And say to yourselves when you rise in the morning, I'll try to be cheerful today. I pray you now, my little child, thus once a kind old lady spoke to her niece in accents mild, do try to be more steady. I know that you will often see rude boys push and drive and hurry, but little girls should never be all in a heat and flurry. While thus the lady gave advice and lectured little Polly, to see her stand with downcast eyes, you'd think she'd owned her folly. She did, and many a promise made, but when her aunt departed, forgetting all the silly maid, off to the playground started. Now see what frolic and what fun the little folks were after. Away they jump, away they run, with many a shout and laughter. But fools who never will be taught, except by some disaster, soon find their knowledge dearly brought, and of a cruel master. This little girl, who spite of all her good old aunt had spoken, would romp about, had such a fall, that her poor leg was broken. In sore amaze, those standing by then placed her on a barrow, but oh, to hear her scream and cry, their souls it sure did harrow. See how her brother bursts in tears when told the dreadful story, and see how carefully he bears the limb all wet and gory. Full many a week, screwed up in bed, she lingered sad and weary, and went on crutches, it is said, until she died so dreary. Oh, how this Mary loved to eat, it was her chief delight. She would have something sour or sweet to munch from morn till night. She to the pantry daily stole, and slyly she would take sugar and plums and sweetmeats too, and apples, nuts, and cake. Her mother Mary oft reproved, but it did no good. Munch, nibble, chew from morn till night, the little glutton would. One day upon some beehives near, she chanced to cast her eyes. How nice that honey there must taste, she cried, and off she flies. On tiptoe now the hives she nears, close up to them she creeps, and through the little window panes quite cautiously she peeps. Oh dear, how good it looks, she cries, as she the honey sees. I will indeed have some, it cannot hurt the bees. And then a hive she gently lifts, oh foolish, foolish child. Down, down it falls, out swarm the bees, buzzing with fury wild. With fright she shrieks and tries to run, but 'tis all in vain. Upon her light the angry bees, and make her writhe with pain. For weeks and more did Mary lie upon her little bed, and instead of honey, she on medicine was fed. Her parents grieved so much at first, their child so sick to see, but once more well, with joy they found her cured of gluttony.